Konnichiwa friends, I am Sekai X Arts and Animations, and today I'm going to talk about the expectations versus the realities of being an artist and making content. Number one is the idea that artists always have this super cute aesthetic workspace. If they're traditional artists, they're working in like a wooden sunroom with a spotless white canvas on the ground to protect the floor. The easel is propped up holding a half-finished but still beautiful piece of art. They have their brushes and sponges and paints all set up in a nice row, maybe even in its own utility cart. And if they're a digital artist, they've got their walls lined with super cute LEDs, and their desk has like a monitor and a drawing tablet and a keyboard and computer and iPad all just set up perfectly and of course color coordinated. Maybe they even have a cute motif like wings or cats going on too. They have an entire shelf dedicated to their anime figures above their workspace and like a gamer chair to match all the rest of the vibes. And finally, they grab a nice warm drink, stick some lo-fi in their headphones, and are all ready to draw. Now, as much as I wish this was true, this is not at all how being an artist works. Some of you lucky people do have this kind of setup, and if so, I envy you greatly. But for me and my friends who are artists, this is not at all what our drawing space usually looks like. Sure, I have a cute, all-pink room, and I do have a Magical Girl collection. My iPad cover is also pink, and I am lucky enough to have an XP Pen drawing display. But nothing is laid out in this way. My drawing tablet is in my desk drawer most of the time. My desk is covered in marker stains. My iPad cover is peeling, and my Magical Girl collection is not on its own shelf, but rather shoved in a drawer. And on top of all of this, I don't even draw in my room most of the time. About 90% of the time, I draw at my kitchen table. It's just more comfortable to me. I tried for a while to set out my computer and my iPad and my pen display in this aesthetic way, but I found that it cluttered my desk really badly. Of course, it's not bad to have a setup like this, or even want to have one like this, but for people out there who are aspiring to be artists, I really implore you to manage your expectations. In addition, don't worry about how neat and cute your workspace is. It doesn't make you any more or less of an artist. This next one is the misconception that once you're an artist, you are a master of all mediums. If you can sketch, you can paint. If you can paint, it doesn't matter if that paint is watercolor or gouache. If you can sculpt a pot, you can sculpt a person. If you can sculpt, you can 3D model. Heck, if you can do traditional art, you can do digital. Some of these are wild examples, but to clarify, just because you can sketch a beautiful drawing of a woman doesn't mean you can paint it just as well. My biggest letdown was when I realized that just because I could draw a 2D character from all angles does not mean I could sculpt that character as a 3D model. Now, some people can paint and draw and sculpt equally well, but that's not just because they're an artist. People who are a master of multiple mediums are a master because they grinded away at learning the skill and now can do both. This also goes for different drawing styles. Just because someone can draw in realism doesn't mean they know how to draw in cartoon. Now, a lot of people disagree with this and say if you know realism, you can draw anything, and that's why you should learn the rules before you break them. But I knew an artist who was an amazing photorealism artist. She could draw people and flowers and animals that all looked just like photographs, and it was super impressive. However, when it came to anything that wasn't realism, her drawings just always looked really weird and off. And this is because realism and stylization are actually two different skills. Saying learn the rules before you break them also implies that at some point you'll master realism completely and then move on to stylization, which just won't happen. You could be off painting like Leonardo da Vinci, but you still wouldn't feel like you were as great as you could be. This is why I'd recommend learning realism and stylization together. You get to develop both skills. Anyways though, I'm getting off topic. To recap, people who can draw in multiple styles or mediums can do so because they tried really hard. No, it is not just that all artists can draw in any style or work in any medium just because we're artists. Sad to say. This is also why people who are sketching their OC in public panic when someone comes up to them and asks them to draw them. Don't do that. The third misconception I want to talk about is the idea that if you're an artist, you can do art all the time and you love it all the time. No matter what, you can sit down and you can draw and your hand will cooperate. Even more, drawing is always fun, even if you do it for a job. If you're a graphic designer or an animator or a painter or whatever, you never feel like you're working because art is always fun for you. This is also not true. I think any artist will tell you that sometimes your body and your mind don't align, and what you envision in your head and what your hand can do just don't match up. Your hand's just out of it. Even if under normal circumstances you could draw that thing, just like athletes and writers, we all have our off days, and usually those off days are not fun. Art can be exhausting. Constantly outputting creative ideas is tough and draining, especially because a lot of the time there isn't a clear endpoint. For example, if someone is working desperately on writing a paper for English class, though that can be just as grueling as drawing, once you put in your concluding sentence, you know you're finished. With art, however, there is always more you could add. You could draw for just 10 more minutes. You could push yourself a little harder. You can make the rendering just a bit better. And the constant, well, this could be better, so I'll just work for 30 more minutes, can be a horrible cycle of self-torture. And an important skill for artists to just know when it's time to stop. These next few are about making content online. Now, I haven't been doing this for too long, but I thought I would share what I thought would happen and what actually happened. First off, while I knew this wasn't true, I always knew it wouldn't really happen. I had this childlike hope that my channel would go viral and take off like a rocket. One day I would just open my YouTube app and I would have millions of subscribers and likes, and I would be monetized and I could drop everything and just become a full-time YouTuber. While maybe that does happen for some people, I've heard YouTube described as a marathon, not a sprint. To build up an audience like that takes time and hard work. I've been doing this for a little over 3 months, and I barely have 2 of the 3,000 watch hours I need to become monetized. It won't happen in a week. I'm sorry, it just won't. It might not even happen in a month, or even a year or more. But that's something that I'm learning to be okay with, and to be grateful for what I do have. Now, I will say, if you are looking into doing YouTube, you have to take the steps to make it fun for yourself. A lot of people just want to do YouTube to make money, and if that's your only reason, then I will tell you YouTube will not be fun for you. And when you don't get the millions of subscribers you want within your first week, you'll get disappointed and quit. I've seen it happen to people. Wanting to make money off YouTube isn't wrong. I would love to make money, but in the long run, it won't sustain you in terms of motivation. Instead, I'd advise you to make videos that you love to make and would love to watch. For me, this has made making videos actually really enjoyable. I think it's fun sharing my art with people. So to anyone who wants to make YouTube content, do something that you enjoy, not just something you think will be popular. Now, a lot of these expectations versus realities have been a real Debbie Downer, but here's one that is much more positive. When I started a channel, I thought I would be plagued with dislikes and hate comments, but luckily for me, that's actually not true. I usually don't get comments, but when I do, they're super sweet and encouraging, like, "I like your art," or "Thanks for the tips, this was helpful." This was a really pleasant surprise for me, and I want to encourage the rest of you that if online trolls are what's holding you back from starting your own channel, just go for it. There are of course jerks online, but most people will just leave you alone. Also, I do want to note real quick that anyone who leaves nice comments or likes on my videos, thank you so much. I only have 8 subscribers right now, and it's just really encouraging to see all the people that are liking my stuff and just the nice things you say. It gives me the motivation to keep on going. Anyway, if you have a YouTube channel already started and are struggling with hate comments, then I can just give you a little bit of advice. I'm not an expert, but obviously if they're really bad, like inappropriate or threatening, you need to report them. But if not, then just try to do your best to ignore them. In the end, they just want attention. An artist I admired, Lavender Town, put it this way: She said that she sees hate comments as good in a really weird way. She said that it was a sign that her videos were reaching a new audience that they weren't before, and I think that's a really positive spin to put on it. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Let me know of any misconceptions you had in the comments below. Sorry if I sound a bit tired, it's almost midnight when I'm recording this. Please consider liking and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next one.